These 6 neurological reasons explain why moderation fails 89% of people within 6 months. I spent over 8 years trying every moderation method available, and when I finally stopped drinking, everything changed for the better. I lost weight, my health improved, I had more energy, the mental clarity, my business exploded. I'm Emma Kinsey, and over the last 2 years, I've helped more than 200 professionals achieve permanent freedom from alcohol with a 98% success rate. That's not motivation, that's pure methodology. So this is for people who have been actively trying to moderate their drinking. And in this video, I'm going to show you exactly why you've been setting yourself up for failure time and time again. Now, before we start, forget everything you've ever been told about moderation being realistic, being balanced. Moderation apps, books, and programs have 11% long-term success rate. You need to understand why they fail so that you can succeed going forward. So starting with reason number 1, moderation requires 847% more mental energy than binary decisions. And neuroscience can prove this mathematically. Dr. Roy Boyster's research at Florida State shows that every moderation decision, should I have 1 drink, should I have 2, can I drink tonight, is this a drinking occasion, depletes your decision-making capacity throughout the entire day. Think of moderation like this. You're at a restaurant negotiating every ingredient. Should I have chicken? Maybe half. What if I add vegetables? Should I skip the sauce? Meanwhile, the person who ordered salmon done is already eating. That's the difference. One is exhausting negotiation, the other is decisive execution. Now, my 8 years of moderation hell, I was setting drinking limits on Sundays. By Tuesdays, I was breaking them. I was negotiating with myself every single day. Just tonight, it's been a stressful day. Just this event because it's important. Now, Stanford Decision Science confirms that binary choices require 91% less cognitive load, but only when you have a systematic framework to support it. And this brings us on to reason number 2, and this explains why every rule you've ever made eventually fails. Now, every moderation rule that you've created becomes an internal battle you fight daily, and the biology just works against you. Yale neuroscience research shows that moderation rules create 340% more neural conflict than elimination. Your brain maintains 2 opposing instructions. Alcohol is acceptable, alcohol must be controlled. Only on weekends, until Friday feels close enough. Only 2 drinks, until the second drink convinces you that a third won't matter. Only wine, not spirits, until the restaurant or the place doesn't have the wine that you like. Now, I tried 17 different moderation rules over those 8 years. Each rule worked for approximately 4 days before I found a loophole. Now, UCLA research on dopamine response shows that your brain's reward system doesn't recognize these artificial limits. Once alcohol enters your system, your neurochemistry is activated. So telling yourself to stop after 2 drinks is like telling yourself to be less hungry while you're eating. The problem isn't that you lack discipline. The problem is moderation is biologically designed to fail. Now, here's where it gets brutal. Reason number 3. You're not comparing yourself to how others actually drink. You're comparing your internal experience to their external appearance. Princeton social psychology shows that when people were asked about their drinking in social settings, 73% underreported their drinking by at least 50%. Your colleague who had 2 glasses at dinner, she had 4. Your friend who only drinks on weekends is having wine Monday to Thursday and calling it not really drinking, so not getting drunk. I had a consultation call with a guy the other day and I asked him, how much are you drinking? And he said, not much really. And I was like, okay, cool. So out of the last 7 days, how many of those days have you drunk? 7. Cool. So on those days, like what's been a minimum amount of drinks? What's been a maximum amount of drinks? And it was like, minimum 3, maximum 5. So if we do the math, 3 drinks a day, 7 days a week, that's 21 minimum. Maximum, who knows if that's the maximum truth, or there's a little bit more, but let's say it is. 7 days, 5 drinks, that's 35, 35. So he's drinking anywhere between 21 and 35 drinks in the week, and he's calling it not much, right? That's the reality. So you're not comparing yourself to people who moderate successfully. You're comparing yourself to people who are just pretending just as hard as you are. Now, research shows that professionals really struggle with their drinking in moderation, and it's never discussed publicly. So you're comparing your inside personal real story to everyone's external fake Instagram story. Now, here's what annoys me the most about social drinking because it's so untrue. And that's reason number 4, that you think alcohol is making social situations better. It's actually preventing you from developing real social confidence. Now, it's been shown that regular social drinkers never develop authentic social skills. They develop alcohol-dependent social skills, which only function when alcohol is present. And so every networking event where you have a drink before talking to people, you're training your brain that social interaction requires chemical assistance. Every dinner party where you drink to feel relaxed, you're reinforcing that you can't relax naturally. Now, here's what actually happens. You're not more interesting with alcohol. You're more tolerant of being uninteresting. There's a massive difference. Now, a lot of people that I speak to, they say that they drink for social anxiety. They don't like going to networking events, to parties without a drink for confidence. But as soon as they eliminate it for 35 to 45 days, that's when you see the tipping point and that authentic social confidence really begins to start developing. Now, this brings us on to reason number 5, and this is where most people get stuck. You believe that elimination is extreme and deprivation. But here's the reality. Moderation is extreme. Elimination is just simply efficient. Which sounds extreme to you? Making one decision once or making the same decision 12.5 times per day every day for years? James Clear's research on habit elimination shows that 83% describe moderation as constant internal negotiation, while 92% describe elimination as mental clarity. When I was finally able to stop drinking after those 8 years of moderation attempts, I expected to feel deprivation, and instead I felt massive relief. The endless negotiations stopped, the morning anxiety disappeared, the mental brain fog lifted. And here's what's actually extreme. Operating at 60-70% of your capacity, planning your schedule around when you can drink, waking up disappointed in yourself 3 times a week. Elimination isn't extreme. Elimination is efficient, it's decisive, and it's what successful people do when they identify something isn't serving them. I've never met anyone who stopped drinking and said it was the worst thing they ever did. In fact, they actually say it's the best thing they ever did. And that brings us on to reason number 6. And that's choosing moderation feels safer because it means you don't have to admit that you don't have control over alcohol. And that identity protection is keeping you trapped. And this was my brutal reality. Every time I tried to stop drinking, a voice would say, if you don't drink normally like everyone else, what does that say about you? So I kept trying to moderate to protect my self-image. But here's what changed everything. Successful people don't moderate inefficiency, they just eliminate it. Stanford's research shows that people choose familiar suffering over identity change 78% of the time. They'd rather keep struggling in moderation than admit that moderation doesn't work. Now, you wouldn't moderate a toxic business partnership. You wouldn't moderate a tax strategy that only works 11% of the time. You wouldn't moderate something that costs you mental clarity. So why would you try to moderate something that costs you your physical health, your mental clarity, and your cognitive performance? Research on high-performing professionals shows that the ability to eliminate non-essential elements predicts more success than the ability to optimize them. Elimination is executive thinking. Moderation is simply entry-level positions, right? You don't need a rock bottom, you need a decision. And the question isn't, can I moderate? The question is, why would I choose to? So here's what happens next. These same 6 reasons have helped over 200 professionals eliminate alcohol completely. 98% achieved complete freedom for at least 100 days, and 94% continue alcohol-free permanently. If you're ready to escape the moderation cycle and actually do something that works, I've created a free masterclass called How to Get Control Over Alcohol. Inside, you'll see the exact 4-step framework that's helped over 200 professionals get complete alcohol freedom. The link is in the description below. And hit subscribe. I share systematic protocols for professionals who want complete freedom from alcohol and not endless moderation negotiations. And remember, moderation is a negotiation. Elimination is a decision. Choose accordingly.